Yeah, like the first thing you look at is you see the Islanders at the bottom. So for you who may not have video, you can follow along. Pull up Jay Fresh's tweet from August 27th, 2025 at 2:59 p.m. just to really kind of like put
Get
a
specific.
very specific bow on that one. The Islanders are before last in the Metropolitan Division at 81 points and like second from last in the entire Eastern Conference. Only a handful of Western Conference teams are worse. So bad season ahead, according to these, as he said, very analytical, a very analytical model does not take into account any other factors whatsoever.
So here's the Metro. Carolina 1 at 104, New Jersey 2 at 104, Rangers 392, Washington 490, Pittsburgh 5 at 89. I think we'll go back to that in a second. Columbus 6 at 83, Islanders 7th at 81, and then Philly 77. Mitch, I don't think the 81 points is really all that far off. It might be like a touch, and I'm like marginal difference. I don't know. I haven't landed on what my exact prediction is, but I've said for a while, I think they'll be around the 500 team. So 81 points, I'm not going to, go nuts over it. Although I do think Pittsburgh is below the Islanders, and I think they probably finish 5th or 6th. The Islanders in the division would be my guess.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You see them now, they're in 7th place in the division, right? But we haven't really mentioned Pittsburgh, which is at 89 points here per the model. And as we all know, Pittsburgh is tanking. That is the goal. They haven't obviously said that out loud, but that model can't take that into account because even Jay Fresh himself says until they get rid of guys like Rust or Carlson, or until they start selling off those pieces, they're not in sell mode because those players are going to help them win games. How
Sure.
many is obviously debatable, but it might be more than we can win. And that sell-off is going to happen for Pittsburgh. It just will. And so I could definitely see them, and I'm sure you agree, and you at home as well, agree that Pittsburgh is going to end up with less than 89 points, or at the very least, less than what the Islanders have. However many less can be debated, but less is, we can all agree that that's going to be the case. So they will sit below us, and that brings us into that, as you were saying, sixth spot in the Metropolitan Division.
I'm also looking at Columbus. I know they were better last year, and they're in a similar point range, right? Like 83 versus 81. It's essentially in that same tier the Islanders are in.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Islanders finished in front of them, which is why that could get me to 5. I don't see myself putting the Islanders higher than any of Washington, the Rangers, New Jersey, or Carolina, though. But if Columbus finishes ahead of them, it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world. They were better last year, obviously, but I think there's a chance the Islanders could be better. So I'll go as high as 5 here, but I think 6 is the floor, I guess.
Yeah, you're right with Columbus being kind of a wild card here. Like they overachieved last year. We all know that. And how much of that was just kind of punching above their weight based off of the emotional roller coaster of an offseason they had. Right, Patrick Laine goes. Obviously, the death of Johnny Gaudreau impacted the team. How much does that prop them up emotionally throughout the season? And then how much of that is gone this year? It's not to say that they're, now we forgot about Johnny Gaudreau. Obviously not. That's not going to happen. They will never forget about him, and rightfully so. It's just you can't keep that up for that long. 2 seasons is just way too long to keep up that kind of effort. And they just don't have, in my opinion, the goaltending to prop them up to a better place than the Islanders do. We have Sorokin, and if Sorokin plays to Sorokin's quality, he alone gets us to 90 points. Maybe not. Yeah, he alone would get us to 90 points.
Yeah, if he's playing like top 3 Vezina finalists, Ilya Sorokin from a few years ago, then yeah, my prediction would absolutely be a lot closer to 90. And I think if things break right, the Islanders could get to 90, and I would love to see that. Honestly, I think it'd be a lot of fun for this team to overachieve and fight for a playoff spot in what many are looking at as a retooling year for the Islanders.
Yeah.
Is there anything else from the Metro specifically? Like, how do you feel about Carolina, New Jersey, the Rangers, Washington? I feel like we spent some time on the bottom here a little bit.
Yeah, on paper it makes sense, right? Specifically New Jersey. On paper, it makes sense that they're top 3 in the Metropolitan Division. The problem with New Jersey is they can't stay goddamn healthy. Someone is bound to break like a collarbone or a tibia and be out for 7 months. One of their more important players, whether it's Jack Hughes, Dougie Hamilton, or who's the goalie they picked up last year? Oh my God, Markstrom. Thank you. He busts an ankle or something. I don't wish that upon him, but that just kind of seems like the theme for New Jersey, does it not? Every year someone gets hurt for months.
Yeah, they had 91 points last year and finished third in the Metro, which is kind of nuts that it only took 91 points to finish third. I think they will do better than 91. 104 seems a touch high. I think like 98 to 101 is kind of where I am for them. I think they're right around the 100-point team. Washington at 111 dropping down to 90.
Yeah.
That's another big one. I think we see a step back. Like, I don't think Washington's going to be an 110-point team again this year.
No.
But it wouldn't surprise me if they finished third with like, I don't know, 96 points maybe, and the Rangers are behind them at 4.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me for Washington to stay in the top 3, but that's another team that, again, punched above their weight. They could maybe do it again, like they just absolutely hit on all the right moves, not only at last season, but forever and ever. Amen. It just seems like it was lightning in a bottle, right? They were chasing, Ovi was chasing the goals record, eventually got it right. It's, again, kind of like what I was talking about with Columbus. Where's the letdown? I expect a bit of a letdown, but like you, I don't think it's going to be they fall to the floor here. But I could see 100-point team. The Rangers, though, I don't know, man. Like, they didn't change management, and maybe things have stabilized in the offseason, but there's still the Artemi Panarin stuff. Like, weren't there allegations made about Artemi Panarin last year that are still kind of floating around as far as I know? And he's at the end of his contract as well. So like, who knows what the hell's going to go on there? I don't believe that the Rangers are a settled group. I really don't firmly believe that. Of course, like, I could be proven wrong, right? They've had a whole lot of time to fix that, but I just don't believe that they're fixed.
No, I do think they'll get that year one coach bump. It happened the last 2 times that they've made this, right? With Gerard Gallant in year 1. And then help me out. Why am I blanking on his name? Oh my God, he was the Islanders coach even too.
Laviolette.
Yeah, Peter Laviolette. And then like, I wouldn't be surprised again if they get themselves in a spot where they're a playoff team, maybe even a wild card team. But I don't see them as like a top 2 of the Metro, a threat to make a deep run in the playoffs kind of a team.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't know if they've got the group to play Mike Sullivan hockey, like full on speed. But you never know. Like, maybe I've got things wrong, but I just don't know. Mike Sullivan's a hell of a coach, though, so maybe he tweaks that system a little bit to get the most out of his players. You have a unsettled group, which was a wildly unsettled group last year, and you added JT Miller to the mix. That's like throwing a bomb into a box of dynamite. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
I just don't see how that's going to work out, but maybe it just works. Maybe all those negatives turn into a positive.